And so I'm going to invite you to go into a little bit of a contemplation as I take you through the months of the year. We'll do them in chunks so that we can begin to think back on what it was that happened for us during our years. So I think we probably want to lower the lights a little bit, Joe, for this. They don't need to write just yet. So I just invite you to get comfortable in your seats. If it helps you to center yourself, go ahead and close your eyes. Take in a breath or two. Just recognize you're self-centered and present in your body right now. And just notice that you're supported by a chair, that your feet are on the floor, that you are grounded and secure in this moment. And so we just begin by going back to the beginning of the year, back to January, February, March of 2024. Gently recall anything that was happening in your life during those months. Maybe you were experiencing something wonderful, or maybe you had something that was a little more challenging. Or perhaps everything just seemed to be okay. Just spend a moment here in those first 3 months of the year. And now bring to mind the spring months, April, May, June. What was your life like during those months? What were the highlights? What were the challenges? How were your relationships, your health, your finances? How did life feel in the spring of 2024? Now let's move forward to the summer, July, August, September. It was a hot one here in Las Vegas. What was happening in your life during those warm summer months that we had? What kind of things were you engaged in? Where did you find joy? What brought you discomfort? And now let's move forward into the last 3 months of the year, the ones closest to us. October, November, December. Temperatures cooled, and life became busier around the holidays. How was things for you during the fall of 2024? What did you find challenging? What uplifted you? So just taking a deep breath here. I'm going to have Joe raise the lights a little bit. And We have some questions to reflect upon here, some statements. So just spend a few moments here. Anything that comes to mind, you don't have to answer all of these. You don't have to fill in all the blanks. This isn't a quiz. This is just for you. Think about what your accomplishments were in 2024. Were there any lessons that you learned? What were you grateful for? What kind of things did you find you had to let go of in 2024? And how have you grown in the past year? I'll give you about 5 minutes here to reflect on this. Write down anything that comes to you. Again, this is just for your own knowledge. Nobody else needs to see it or have anything to do with it. This is on the larger piece of paper, by the way. We were looking for it. Big white paper, two-sided. Just take one more minute and finish up here. right, as I said, we often have things that happen that we don't really want to have happen again in our lives. And they can be little things. They don't have to be big, horrid things. They can be little things that it's like, yeah, I think I'm done with doing that. I don't really want to do that again in my life. So we're going to take a little bit of a contemplation here to review some of those things. And you have the next section on your paper is called Releasing. And so I've grouped it into setbacks, disappointments, fears, frustrations, but maybe there's something that happened that doesn't fit into one of those categories. That's okay. You can just jot it down wherever you want on your paper. And so let's just begin again, thinking back over what has happened in 2024, and what are those things that you really don't want to experience again in your life, or at least not again in the next year. So as you take a few moments and just ponder what has happened in 2024, and write down anything that feels like you would like to let that go. We'll give you about 3 minutes here to do that. Okay, here comes the fun part. You were given a very small piece of paper. It's small for a reason. What I'd like you to do is to write on this paper every single thing that you want to let go of in 2024. You can write on both sides. You can write it really tiny. Nobody ever has to read it again. You can even misspell it and scribble something down knowing what that means. Whatever you want. Fill this paper completely with all of those things that you do not want to bring into 2025. So take your time and do that for a few moments here. feel complete, fold your paper up, not real tight, but 2 or 3 times, fold it. I'm folding mine like this. And bring it up here and put it in the bowl. There's a piece of mesh there. If you just put it on top of the mesh, that would be perfect. Whenever you're ready, come on up and put your... You got to let that go. One that's trying to get away here. I don't want that. That's it. Oh, there's another one. There's something very powerful about writing down the things that we want to release and then physically getting up and doing that. But this next part is even more powerful. We're going to send these things back into the nothingness from which they came. So let's take a moment and pray over this, and then we will... those of you that might be behind me, you want to see this. So if you want to stand and move, that's great. But you want to see this. So if you see the bowl from where I'm standing, then please make yourself available for that. All right, let's just take a moment and turn within to that place in consciousness, that place that fills us with that divine grace that is overflowing, that is living its life through us right here and right now, that one creative love intelligence that has brought each one of us into existence, that is the isness and the allness and the fullness of all life, that one all-pervading love intelligence, that one I call God. And knowing that there is only this one, I know that I am one with it, that the power and the presence of the divine resides right at the heart of my being. And because I know this is true for me, I know this is true for everyone, that we are all, each, a perfect and unique emanation of that one. And so I know right now that everything that has been written down on this paper and everything that has been left unsaid is already released in the mind of the one. And this is simply just an act of completion, to allow it to disintegrate, moving back into the nothingness, back to where it has no power, where it has no effect upon us. And how good it is to know this, how good it is to see it, how good it is to feel what is happening right now. I just give great thanks for this. And I release this word into the law, to that creative mind that knows no limits. I let it go, and I let it be. And together we say, so it is.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free. and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Oh, beautiful. Doesn't that feel good? Let that stuff go. We don't need to take it with us into our new year, into our new experience. We can let it go and know that it is gone. We don't have to pick it up again. We don't have to take it back with us. We can just let it be, knowing that it is completely gone. Spirit's got a handle on it, and that is all there is to it. So the next part of our workshop is about setting our intentions for 2025. Now, an intention is it's a little bit different than what a lot of people do. Most people set a New Year's resolution. How many of you have seen a New Year's resolution all the way through to its completion? Yeah, yay, all right. You know, there's been a couple that I've been able to move through in my life, but for the most part, it's sometimes 3 days, sometimes 10 days. I might get to 3 weeks with one of them, but I don't often do that. What I like about intentions versus resolutions is an intention is working in consciousness. It's working through us all the time, and we don't really have to put a lot of attention on intentions. We just have to kind of keep them in the back of our mind, letting them work as they are want to work. Now, it's interesting to watch what happens with intentions. Sometimes they show up in ways that we didn't plan for, but when we look at that, it's like, oh yeah, that's what I asked for. So it's always good to be clear about what you want. What's that story about the person that wanted unconditional love and their dog had puppies? You can always be a little more clear about what it is we're wanting to bring into our experience. And so setting our intentions is a powerful way to do that. And so I'm going to take you through a little guided questions here. I've got some questions. This is on the back side of your paper now. I'm calling this rising because we are rising up in consciousness in 2025. We are rising up in our lives and moving forward. So we are going to go through these questions, and as anything occurs to you, write it down. Even if it is something that doesn't respond to one of those questions, go ahead and put it down on your paper. I try to make up questions that I think are going to be appropriate for these kind of things, but there are different situations in our lives that would actually be something that would be more appropriate for you for this. So think about, what are those things in your life that you are passionate about right now? Think about that. What sparks you? What makes you want to get up in the morning and go do things? What is it you're passionate about? What is it in your life that you would like to have more of? Those things that are working really well that you'd like to cultivate and watch them grow in your life. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new hobby, a new way of being healthy. What is it you're wanting to cultivate and bring more of into your life in 2025? And the next two questions kind of go together. What's going on in my life right now? What's going right in my life right now? And what seems to be working well? What are those things that are really good for you right now? And now think about those things that may be a little more challenging for you right now, that you might like to make a shift. Without going into those things that you release, but what might be a little bit of a challenge for you right now, that you might like to have a different outcome. And where is an area where you might make some positive changes in your life right now? So looking over all of those things that you've just written, reflecting on what is happening in your life currently, let's begin to make an intention statement. Now, an intention statement is very much like an affirmation. They are most powerful when you use words that have some impact on you. So for instance, if I use an I statement, then I'm claiming it for myself and it makes it feel more real inside of me. If I say something like, I am experiencing more joy in my life, versus if I said something like, I want more joy in my life, which one feels more powerful to you? I am experiencing more joy in my life, or I want more joy in my life? Experiencing, there's an action there. There's a power there. So if we use words that are action words, that helps us bring some movement into the intention statement. If we use words that are juicy words, words that mean something to me, like if I use the word good versus the word fabulous. Fabulous is a much more juicy word than good is. So think of words like that. Words like I am passionate, or I am experiencing ultimate joy in my life, or I am bringing in abundance in every avenue of my experience. Think about words that are juicy and mean something to you, that give you some fire behind them. So think about that as you're writing your intention statement. It needs to be present tense. Don't say I will. I am right now. Will doesn't have any power to it. Make it personal. Use I statements. My life. I. Me. Don't put even we in there. That takes away some of your power when you attach it to someone else. This is all about what's happening for you. Now you could say, I am experiencing wondrous joy in all of my relationships, which kind of encompasses somebody else, but it's not about them, it's about you experiencing the joy. So present tense, powerful, passionate, personal. There we go. So take a few moments and see if you can come up with a statement that kind of covers what you were talking about in your rising section. Okay, we have one more thing to do here with this. I started doing this process this will be my 4th year of it. So 3 years ago, I've completed this process. And I call this my word of power. So I take my intention statement and I synthesize it down to one word. And I let that one word be my guiding force throughout my life that year. So for instance, in 2022, my word of power was authentic. And so I found lots of ways where I could show up as my true self and speak my truth to anyone that needed to have it spoken to them. It was interesting to watch how it showed up in my life, this word authentic. In 2023, my word was courage. And I moved through some of the most difficult situations a person has to go through, the death of a parent. I bought a new home. I adopted some babies, fur babies, by the way, not the other kind. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but I like the fur ones too. So my life had some big changes in it, and I moved through it with courage and grace and ease as I went through each one of those transitions. Last year, my word of power was balance. And wouldn't you know it, I found lots of ways that I could practice balance, especially with a knee that went out and all of the things that challenges around that. But it gave me ways to look at my life and bring more balance into it. So I did this process over the weekend so that I would be ready for today. And so my intention statement was, I find ways to allow creativity to explode in my life. That's my intention statement. And so my word of power out of that is create. So my word of power for 2025 will be the word create. And so take a look at your intention and see if you can synthesize that down into one word. One word is most powerful. If you have to have two, put two in there. But one word is the most powerful way to do it. And then you let that word guide everything through your decision making in 2025. So take a moment and see if you can come up with that one word, your word of power. Okay, you were given a candle when you came in, and the candle has two blanks. It has a blank at the top and then one at the bottom. On the blank at the top, would you put your name? You can just put your first name. You don't have to have the whole name on there. And on the blank of the bottom, put your word of power. So I've asked 4 of our practitioners to come to the altars and assist us with this part. So when you are ready, I'm going to ask you to come up to the altar. You choose whichever one you want to. When you walk up to the practitioner, they're going to light your candle. And what I want you to do is say, my name is Laura, and my word of power is create. Say except you use your name and your word of power instead of that. Come up to the practitioner and actually claim it for yourself. There's something very powerful about making a statement and claiming that as your experience. Now, there are mirror tiles on the table. I would like you to put your candle on the mirror tile because your candle flame will reflect with everyone else's candle flame. It enhances the power of each one of them, and it shines that light as a community. So make sure you put your candle on one of the mirror tiles there so your light can be reflected for everyone. And so, Joe, we're just going to need some music for this part, and probably leave the lights where they're at because of the people moving around. All right. You may go to whichever practitioner you prefer to go to and have your candle lit. Okay. It is. And so we'll just take a moment here and bless each one of these intentions with a spiritual mind treatment. And so right here and right now, I know that that one power and that one presence is active in each one of us. It has brought us to this moment and given us this work to do today. So I know that these intentions that have been set forth are already complete in the mind of the one and ready and willing for us to experience them in our lives more and more throughout 2025. I know that these words of power that have been spoken, have been claimed, have been set in motion right here and right now, are already active. and manifesting themselves in most amazing ways possible in each and every one of our experience. I know that the goodness and the grace of God is absolutely present here, moving through each one of us and showing up as us in all of its perfection and all of its glory. I give great thanks for this, and I let it be, and so it is. Thank you.